Hello, my name is Aaron. Decided to do some a little bit more fun today, fun for me anyway, which is I was going to go over some records that I have. I was just going through my record collection, flipping through, seeing what's up, and I realized, there are some records that I really love that I want to share. Originally, I was just, I grabbed this whole big stack, and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about all these records. But then I was like, well, maybe it's a good idea to just like chop it down to, I call it these are my top five. Although there are technically like 8 or 7 or 8 records here because a couple of them are not necessarily duplicates, but they go well together. So I'll talk about these 5. And the first one that is on top is A Charlie Brown Christmas, which is not only a record but a soundtrack to the movie A Charlie Brown Christmas, which is an amazing animated Christmas movie. All of Charlie Brown movies are great. Charlie Brown Halloween is great. Even the like little cartoon that existed that wasn't based on holidays, it was just a cartoon. It's a green record, which is perfectly festive for Christmas. And it's just, anytime Christmas is coming around, which was, very recent, I'll put on this record and it will instantly careen me into my childhood. Vince Guaraldi is an amazing jazz pianist. Composed the whole thing, I think. He composed the originals and then arranged the covers and stuff. The best song on here, "Christmas Time Is Here," obviously, probably my favorite Christmas song of all time. Maybe one of my favorite jazz songs of all time, because if you like listen to the song, it's not really a like if you just, especially just the instrumental, like it's not really a Christmas song to the extent that any song is a Christmas song, like the music behind it, but it's just kind of a jazz waltz, and it's out of context of the lyrics, and even with the lyrics in there, it just doesn't sound super like cheerful and Christmassy. It's kind of like a slow, contemplative, which I guess Christmas is a little contemplative, but it's like a slow, almost darkish waltz. It has some really very jazzy and intricate chord changes and things like that, and it's just a really good song. Also, "Skating" is an original composition by Vince Guaraldi. That's a great song. And then some of the arrangements they did of old classics are really good. "O Tannenbaum," which I love that song. They did a really good job. "What Child Is This?" "Hark the Herald." I actually don't remember that. Oh wait, yeah, I remember now. It's okay. Obviously, it wasn't that great of fun, but the arrangement of the Christmas song is really good. And "Greensleeves," which I didn't know was a Christmas song. It might technically not be, but then I had another record that went with this, and this is actually the first one of these I had. It was the Halloween soundtrack. And to be honest, I literally just bought this because I love Charlie Brown so much that I wanted it, and then I was like, well, the album that I really love is the Christmas album, so I looked for that and I found that. I'll listen to this on Halloween. I love the movie more than I love the soundtrack. I think Vince Guaraldi really came to life in the Christmas soundtrack, but this is an orange record. But both these are awesome. Very festive and cool to have around for the holidays. So that's those. This one is special to me because my mom got it for me as a Christmas gift. I didn't really ask, I think I just remember mentioning in passing, like, it would be cool to have a record. I was very into, like, classical solo piano pieces at the time. And Chopin, obviously, is someone who I was listening to a lot. If you're listening to classic solo piano pieces, you're probably listening to a lot of Chopin, because he wrote a lot of the best ones. And she found me this in, I think, like, an antique store. It might have been, like, an old record store or something, but it's a Rubinstein. I forgot this guy's full name. Artur Rubinstein did a performance of some of Chopin's opuses. Opus number 2's on here. They're called the Nocturnes. That might have like a more specific definition in the classical music world. I don't know. I'm not that well versed in classical music. I listen to it every once in a while, and there are some pieces that I love. And some composers, especially like Chopin, Eric Satie. I'm a huge fan of. Debussy, I like some of his stuff. And I mean, obviously Beethoven had some great stuff. Bach, I appreciate Bach. I have a hard time. His music is just so involved. So much counterpoint and stuff going on, and it's so full. It's almost too much for me. I love Bach, and obviously he is like one of the greatest composers of all time. And I mean, he might be the greatest composer of all time. And it's a little hard for me to get into his stuff. But people like Chopin, and especially their solo pianists, like the problem I think I have with Bach, and this is about Chopin, but I'm going to go on a Bach tangent, is it's just so much going on. Like, it's all these instruments, most of them playing different melodic lines, all doing different things, and it just takes so much mental capacity. And I just might not have that mental capacity in whatever moment I'm listening to Bach. Sometimes I'll listen to Bach and I'll be like, this is okay. But honestly, usually I'll listen to Bach and I'll be like, just chill. It's the same attitude I have towards, which is another contentious subject, because I study music at a college here in town. And when we were in jazz combo, I was like, yeah, I don't like bebop that much. Like, it's just too much. Just chill out a little bit. I like cool jazz. Miles Davis, cool jazz. Just calm down, play less notes, and everything will be okay. It's, excuse me, but yeah, that's my rant on notey music. But this is a great record. Really cool. Four discs, 4 LPs, all with that's just like a great selection of his opuses. Opus number 2 is his famous one. I can't really remember the melody off the top of my head, but if you look it up and play it, you'll remember. You'll know in 2 seconds. It's been on movies and probably commercials and all types of stuff. So that's a great record. Thank you, Mom. She got me that. It was very thoughtful. I was listening to a lot of Chopin at the time. This is a record. This is one of my first records I ever bought. It was Shaky Graves and the Horse He Rode In On. And it is a collection of records, The Donor Blues, which is one of his first. That's an EP, technically. And Nobody's Fool. It was a later record. 2015, they're labeled here 2009, 2015. This one was really early. This might have actually even been technically his first release, because I think The Donor Blues was released, Roll the Bones, which I don't know if that was an album or an EP, and then And the War Came. But this is really cool. The picture on front I love. I don't know what context this is. Like, is there some crop dusting going on, or is this like in the middle of a war? This looks like a gas mask for a horse, and this guy's clearly wearing a gas mask that's connected to some oxygen. I don't know. He looks like he's got kind of maybe like a military helmet going on. I have no clue what the context of this picture is, but it's a really interesting picture, and the album is both these albums are really cool. I would say in the canon of Shaky Graves, these are probably some lesser known albums, so it's cool that he pressed them both on like not one piece, but a whole, whatever you call it. It's all in the same sleeve. There's 2 records on the same sleeve. But yeah, Donor Blues is really cool. My favorite song on here is probably Do Jane, or Good Police is really good. The Donor Blues is really good. Actually, all these songs are really good. I like to listen to this all the way through, because when I first listened to this side, I was kind of like, ooh, what the? Because I was used to like Suitcase Drum, Shaky Graves, with his guitar, doing like the loud, kind of shouty stuff, like his Audio Tree live sessions and some similar things to that. Although some other stuff I like too, but that was what I was originally introduced to, and I got this soon after. And I remember listening to this and being like, oh, this is a new Shaky Graves, and it took me a second to really appreciate it, but he does really well. I really like Shaky Graves, and especially these now. These grew on me, and now it's one of my favorite Shaky Graves records. And then Nobody's Fool is a little along the same lines. I mean, I remember hearing Shaky Graves talk about how There's live Shaky Graves, and then there's in-studio Shaky Graves, and they're a little different. Like, he obviously probably doesn't use it. He might use a suitcase drum in studio, I don't know, probably on a couple songs, but like this one, there's not a lot of suitcase drum, loud Shaky Graves going on, although I do believe A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, which might be my favorite song on this. It's a cover of a Disney song, I think, and I should know a Disney movie, but I don't. And he does just amazing. It's a great cover. This If Not For You demo on the top is freaking awesome. If Not For You is like probably one of his best songs ever. I really like that song, and he plays it a lot. Nobody's Fool is great. I actually did a tutorial of that song. And then Pay the Road is really good. All these songs are really good. Love Patiently, that one's good. Favorite on here is a tie between If Not For You and A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes. He did really well with those two. So that's that one. This one is this is an older band, not old, like 2010s maybe, a little earlier than that, probably when they got started. I found them in probably 2013, 2014, called Brown Bird, and they were a husband and wife. Husband and wife started the band, David Lamb and Morgan Eve Swain, and it's they also had a band at one point, but if you watch them live, it's usually just them. I think that's how they started, was just them, but they recorded this with their full band. And they have a very dark bluegrassy sound, with like a little bit of what I think is like a gypsy influence, like some gypsy music, because there's some like accordion, and I'm not super familiar with gypsy music, but I get that vibe. You get kind of that weird Eastern European, like darkish sound. But yeah, these guys make really sweet. It's kind of what introduced me to bluegrass music. The wife, is an amazing violin player, and upright bassist, and he's a great guitar player, and he sings really well, and he writes really good songs. Yeah, this is kind of what introduced me to bluegrass, especially a certain sound of bluegrass, kind of that like longing Americana sound. And these guys, I think, did a really good job of kind of forging their own bluegrass sound, and it really resonated with me. I loved a lot of the stuff that they did. They had another great record. This one's pretty acoustic. They started to get more electric, there's one record called Threads of Measure, which is a little later. That one was really good. I would love to have that on vinyl. Sulfur Salt, that one was, I think there was some electric in that, but I think that was still more acoustic. I think that was after this record, or that might have been before this record, and this record that came out. I don't know the timeline of their discography very well, but and then the last record that they made was Axis Mundi, which was actually it was, I think, kind of a posthumous release, because David Lamb died of leukemia or some other form of cancer. I don't know for sure, but he died, and this is actually a special edition release that they did of the Devil Dancing, which was probably their more popular record. It was really good, which is unfortunate, because they were making unfortunate that he died, because they make really good music, and sorry to see him go. But my favorite song on here is probably The Devil Dancing, which is the title of the EP, but the title track's really good. Danger and Dread's also really good. Down to the River, Sickle and Hood's cool. Severed Soul's really good. Yeah, I'd really like this record, and I really love this band. I'm sorry we don't get to see more music out of them, but such is the nature of life, I suppose. You got things till you don't, and you just gotta deal with them not being there. So these last two are together. They are a couple of Covet records. If you're familiar with Covet, I love Covet, and that is an understatement. They are I think one of the cooler bands that exists right now. Yvette Young and her band, they just are able to put together such great and interesting and really technically advanced, but also very pleasing stuff. And it's really cool to listen to that. The first one is their latest release, which is Technicolor. this is, I would say I can definitely listen to this all the way through. I love every song on here. My favorite song is probably Parachute. That's a really good song. It's one of the few songs they have that has lyrics. And it's, yeah, it's really well done. The progression of the music is so good that each part is like excellent. The effects that Yvette uses are like perfect, and her guitar playing is perfect, and the bass is perfect, and the drums are perfect, and these guys are just really good, really tight band. And the lyrics are even great. They're sparse. There's not a huge amount of lyrics, but it's yeah, a really good song. Odessa's really pretty. Farewell's a pretty song, kind of depressing, but it's a pretty song. Pre-Dawn is a really pretty song too. And yeah, they just do a really good job of being technical, but not just unpleasant. Because a lot of times when you get into that like math rock world, it's really easy to just be almost purposefully unpleasant with your music. Because it's not, I wouldn't say it's hard to make like it's hard to make complex music, but it's less hard to make unpleasant complex music. Like you can write a 9/8 riff, it's just probably not going to be pleasant. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but they do a really good job. And this is their other record that came out before this one. This was Effloresce. Has my favorite song by them ever, which is Falcor. That is a math rock masterpiece, if I may say so myself. Yeah, it's just super boppy. Like the beginning is super boppy, like real dancey, and then it goes into this all like kind of dark, really disjointed but also jointed section. Yeah, that song's really well done, and then it returns to the boppiness. It's a great song. Really captures. When I listen to this song, if you're familiar with who Falcor is, and I don't know a whole lot about the movie, but I do know that Falcor is like a dog dragon from the 90s movie, fantasy movie, A Never-Ending Story. And I know that Atreyu, the character who also has a song on here, one of the songs is named Atreyu, rides on him, and that's the picture that I get when I listen to this song. It's Falcor like going through the clouds, and so it's going well sometimes it's not going so well. It almost feels like they're being chased at some points, like, but it's a really it's a great musical accomplishment. They did really well with that song. Also the rest of the songs are great. Shibuya is really cool. It has a really cool riff. Glimmer has a sweet riff. I love the riff on Glimmer. Sea Dragon's really cool, kind of a flowy Sea Dragon sounding song. It's a great song. Gleam is a cool ambient type song, and Howl is also really cool. I hope that Howl is named for Howl's Moving Castle. I don't know. It might just be like Howl, like a wolf, but I love that movie, so I hope that is what it's about. But I don't know. But anyway, that's 5 records that I have that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I was just flipping through my records. I have a whole nother stack here. I'll probably talk about more of them at some point, but that was just 5. These are probably my most, well, not my most cherished. I cherish all my records, and there are some that are equally cherished. I just pulled these out, and I was like, man, I love these 5 records. Well, 7. So I'm going to talk about them. But, yeah. Collect records. Share records. Share music with your friends. That's my favorite part about records. But, alright. That's all I got to say. Hope everyone's having a good Saturday. It is Saturday. Yes, it's Saturday. Alright. Bye.